Within business and mission-driven organizations, mental resilience among leaders is really important.
Hi, this is Tricia Ratliff. Welcome to my Innovation Podcast. I'm here today with Stephen Sanchez from Everyday Agile. In addition to his background in tech, Stephen has extensive coaching experience. For decades, he's been using agile methods to help maximize performance in organizations and with executive leaders. He's been getting into mental resilience, so I brought him here today to talk about mental resilience and how it yields peak performance in organizations. Welcome, Stephen. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. So tell me what mental resilience is and why it matters in an organization.
Yeah, great. Mental resilience is the ability for someone to effectively cope with stress, adversity, challenges in given situations in both their personal and work life, kind of looking at it as a whole. It is the ability for them to be able to bounce back in those difficult situations and be able to adapt to change in a way that honors their value systems and promotes clarity of the situation. So there are several kind of aspects to mental resilience. Some of those are emotional regulation, to be more responsive rather than reactive, to be able to look at the problem from a neutral perspective without judgment, and then applying the appropriate decision-making process to clearly understand in their context. It requires like positivity or positive outlook, being able to be more optimistic, right? Not toxically optimistic, but optimistic in a way that seeks to find the silver lining, or a way to make a bad situation better if and when possible. There are more characteristics we can go into, but I think just a high level definition that might be good enough to get us started.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me about some of the mental resilience work that you are doing with the people that you're coaching currently.
Yeah, so I'm using it everywhere basically. So within business and mission-driven organizations, mental resilience among leaders and executives is really important. Understanding what their, as a leader, what their heuristics and unconscious biases are, how they're leveraging their strengths as a leader, how they're communicating, whether that's, they're able to accept and provide feedback in a neutral way that they can understand and seek diversity of that feedback and helping them make decisions. Mental resilience is at scale within these organizations. So not only leaders that impact things like market direction and return on investment and policy development, community initiatives, external to their organization, but also the cultural drivers within their organization is something that mental resilience plays a very key role in. And of course, at scale, we're also talking about all of the structures within that organization, where it's important for the same factors, right? The same definition of mental resilience for leaders of portfolios, of programs, of teams, all the way down to the individual. And obviously the mental resilience for yourself is something that's extremely valuable also, if we're always looking to grow individually, something that is referred to as the inner game. Right? It's like, how do we optimize our own life experiences by practicing the strategies and benefits that mental resilience offers in terms of standing in the storm and ability to bounce back from difficult situations, both personally and at work. Another opportunity that I've found is mental resilience for student athletes. I noticed a gap or a potential need there to not only recover, but prevent damage of relationships in competitive youth sports. My daughter plays high school softball, and I noticed this as part of some of the travel team experience, the relationship between the players themselves. Some of it can be damaging. And I decided to think about how mental resilience might be able to remedy some of those relationships on the team that would benefit both the individual player, as well as the team a little more holistically. Another opportunity I saw is relationship with respect to athletics, between parents and their player. I've seen a lot of harmful things. I've heard a lot of harmful things that don't necessarily help the player in terms of the young stage in their life and their growth and how they see themselves and that kind of thing. And so I think I also saw an opportunity for mental resilience to help help either prevent or improve relationships that have been damaged because of the highly competitive nature of athletics.
So are you saying if we improve our understanding of mental resiliency at work, that we can also improve our home relationship and parenting skills?
Yeah, because this is not right. So mental resiliency is not necessarily, well, it can be compartmentalized. It's like, oh, I'm only mentally, I'm building these skills for work, or I'm building it for out of work. What we're really looking for here, and my objective would be for mental resiliency to be part of who you are, right? Which would cross those boundaries. So mental resiliency at work and at home. And that's really up to the individual's journey. Is like, well, is this something that I want for myself? Do I see it beneficial in both cases? Or, is this just something I do at work because I have to?
Gotcha. Can you break this down for me in really simple terms? If I want to improve my mental resiliency or mental resiliency on my team in order to get some of the benefits and outcomes, what are some things I can do?
Yeah, so one of the things that we talk about are emotional regulation. So observing your own behaviors, asking for feedback from others, like, hey, how upset did I get when I missed that ball, or how upset did I get when this requirement was removed or changed from the original. Understanding your own emotional responses, or just behaviors in general for us as individuals. So if you have a trusted friend or partner, someone that you could go to be like, all right, how crazy, how wild did this get? Right. And if they can really provide that feedback, that would be awesome. Another interesting kind of twist here is I've actually experimented just with me personally. I haven't really applied this or shared it with those that I serve. But what I do is I'll leverage AI and ask them the question, is like, here's the situation. Here was my reaction. Where do you see opportunities to improve? And what I've learned is that AI is brutally honest with me and will tell me, it's like, yeah, exhibiting this behavior, it could serve as a potential trigger or turn someone off, or they could lose your message because they're upset or don't agree. Here are some ideas for you to think about, how, if you encounter this situation again, these might be more constructive responses. It's actually decent. And again, it's AI, right? So it's not something that I 100% rely on, but it is something that helps generate ideas. Another way that I use the AI in that context is I'll ask a follow-on to say, what might be the leading and lagging indicators to this type of reaction? And what that helps me do is it'll create a list of potential identifiers that I can start to look out for That way I can mentally identify before I respond or react. So I can kind of take that pause. It's like, oh, this is one of the things, one of the identifiers that I'm about to react rather than respond. Do I still want to do that? Right. So that's another kind of way that I've used the AI to help me think through like some of the emotional regulation and the behavior that's associated with it.
And I imagine it's easier to take that feedback from the AI than from a person.
Yeah, at least in my experience, it's been easier, right? Because it prevents a little, embarrassment. It's like, wow, I really acted silly, right? I feel that it is honest enough feedback, right? And it's funny that I use the word honest with AI. I would say like I trust enough that it's not so far off that I'm willing to consider what it's saying.
Wow.
But I think that's a really important question, right? Because part of mental resiliency is also, standing up to, not without shame, owning what you did, how you behave. So I think there's a flip side to that too, to say, now that I understand, how can I stand up to it? Or how can I, what can I do that would make it better, right? Because there was probably potentially some damage that was done that you did, right, as part of your reaction. So what is it that you want to do now that you've had time to think about it? And if you go the AI route and way you'd approach it differently, it's like, how might you rebuild or repair some of that damage that you caused? And how is that part of your own mental resilience process in terms of growth?
Tell me about some of the work that you've been doing to build AI-enabled coaching and mental resilience.
I've built a survey and a series of prompts that identify superpowers for people, right? And based on their actual strengths, based on their estimated personality types, flows, value system. And I've found that it really came up with some really interesting ideas in terms of what their superpowers might be, and it makes it fun, right? So I initially designed this experiment for the student athletes, and then quickly realized it's like, there's more here. This is something, I think, this way of thinking about the problems that we face, whether you're, on mission within an organization, as part of your family or student athlete. I think this translates, right? So I would like to share more about what it is I'm doing, and possibly even demo some of the stuff that I've done. And I'd love to hear what others think about it, and if it might be useful for them in whatever context they choose to apply it.
Yes. Would you be willing to come back sometime and do a video demo?
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Awesome. Let's do that. Okay. Well, thank you for your time today, and I'm looking forward to our next discussion.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome, of course. I'll talk to you soon, Stephen.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.